We know that the levels of nitrogen dioxide here are quite high, and it was introduced by Ken Skates, the Minister for Economy and Transport, across 5 sites right across Wales to have this experiment. I suppose in the beginning a temporary 50 mile per hour zone was put here. It's now been decided to be made permanent. I have had lots of complaints from people who didn't understand why the 50 mile per hour zone had been put in. They thought it may be for traffic calming, why it wasn't being enforced by police. So the cameras have been put here now that it's a permanent solution to improve our air quality here in Wrexham. So the data we need to look at is, now that the cameras have been put in, we think the data will be much more robust. We all know that people weren't adhering to the 50 mile per hour zone. So over the autumn, we'll be building up that database. But clearly across the 5 zones in Wales, the advice is that we should continue with these zones on a permanent basis, hence the cameras, so that people understand that. Have a look at the robust data that will be coming through and take a further decision later on. I think it's really important that you do these decisions on robust data, on that science, and clearly we need to look at that. But I think it is the right decision now. It's a very split decision. I've had constituents tell me that they're not happy with it. I've had constituents tell me that we should extend it. I've also had residents tell me that they would like it past their house also. So I think it is really important that we make sure the data is robust, that people adhere to the 50 mile per hour zones. I think the cameras will help that. I also think we need better signage. I've said that to Welsh Government officials. We need to say why we're doing this. And I think, poor air quality kills. It's what it says on the tin. I've had things that say, slower driving equals lower NO2 emissions. Well, the average person wouldn't know what that meant, maybe. But equally, when you're driving past, you don't want to be looking at signs wondering what they're saying. You need to know that advice very clearly. I think there are lessons to be learned. Firstly, the signage. You're right, it said emissions reduction, little sign, and people were complaining to me about it, and I absolutely agree with that. You will see new signage coming in so that people understand exactly why we're asking them to drive at 50 miles per hour, because we know the science proves that better air quality will come from that. Well, we'll need to look at that. Obviously, current technology is that we do have hybrids and electric cars. They are becoming more, as we're putting more charging points in. It's a vicious circle, isn't it? People won't buy them when they don't think they can get from A to B. So we put, the Welsh Government's put significant funding into having more charging points, but also the private sector are putting funding into having charging points. So as we see more cars, I think it is something that we will have to look at. Yes, I do. Certainly, there's 5 zones across Wales. This is obviously the one I know the best because it's in my constituency. But I've certainly had experience with, I've had people coming up behind me flashing lights, I've had tooting horns. I'm not going to get done for doing more than 50 miles per hour in this zone. Absolutely not. I really believe in this. And I hope now that with the installation of the cameras, people will respect it. We'll do 50 miles per hour as a maximum. Then we'll have that robust data to make us make informed decisions. No, I think it will have to be done on science and on the data that we get. It's, as I say, I've had a very mixed bag. I've had people in favour of it, people against it, and obviously residents who it impacts on. I've had people come and see me from the estate opposite. I've had people from down the road who want it extended. So I think it's really important that we're able to defend the decision and say that we've got the robust data that shows that the air quality has improved, for instance, with people doing 50 miles per hour. But it will take a little while to do.